In today's video, we're talking about the American dream and owning a vacation home. In my experience, it's not all it's cracked up to be, and there's a far better way to enjoy your vacations without the headaches of a vacation home. I'm Michael Parks, helping you to invest in apartment buildings to live life on your own terms. Here we go. I once read that the American dream has changed. For years and years, it was always to be able to buy and own your own home. And somewhere in recent decades, it has switched, and most people now think the American dream is owning a vacation home. And I get it. Who wouldn't love a vacation home? A place to call your own, spend time with friends, family, relax, and do whatever makes you happy. Many people think, well, I'll buy a vacation home and I'll rent it out when I'm not using it, and it will basically pay for itself. So I'll have my vacation home for free. Well, I thought that too, and in fact, I actually did it. I bought a ski house up in New Hampshire back in 2002, and I kept it until just recently when I've sold it. I have to say, it didn't work out exactly as I had envisioned it. In fact, it actually caused more stress in my life rather than less. It locked me in for 17 years that I owned it, and it didn't pay for itself. If I look at it purely from an investment standpoint, there are far better investment options I could have chosen. Let's take each one of those one by one, and I'll tell you more about what I mean. Let's start with the additional stress. What is it like to rent out your home? Well, to be honest, renters don't take care of your home the way you would. So every time you show up to enjoy your vacation, relax, and so forth, you go in with a pit in your stomach wondering, what's broken? What's stolen? What am I gonna find? For instance, I had a very expensive wicker chair that I liked a lot. And one day I came in and the entire bottom was blown out on it. When I talked to the rental company, they said, well, we didn't notice and we don't know who did it, so tough luck. You'll have to fix it yourself. One time I came in and I found a huge oil stain in the middle of the carpet in the living room. Presumably somebody brought their motorcycle into the living room. I don't know who would ever do that, but there wasn't much I could do at that point. And a funny story, I had a picture from 100 years ago of the town that this house was in. I really liked the picture, it was up on the wall, and one day I came in to find it was gone. Again, we don't know who took it, could have been anybody. What makes it funny is that it showed back up on my doorstep 8 years later. To this date, I still don't know who took that picture and where it went for those 8 years, but I'm sure happy to have it back. So if it was just a rental property, perhaps you check in once a year, you look at what's been damaged or broken or stolen, put a little bit of money in and fix it back up to make sure that it's all set for your renters. But when it's your home and you're using it, you don't want to live with those things. So you're constantly trying to bring it back to the way you want it to be. Or you end up living with the damaged goods and being extremely annoyed that you didn't break it, but now you're gonna live with it. The second thing is the lock-in. And what I mean by lock-in is that once you're invested in a vacation property that you use, that becomes the only place you go. You've got a lot invested in it. Not only was it the purchase price, but also association dues. In my case, it was a ski house, so I had investments in ski passes for the family, ski equipment at the pool spa area that we needed to be a member in to use. And once you have all that investment into your vacation home, that becomes the default place you go. In fact, I didn't ski hardly anywhere else throughout the 17 years that I owned that property. And when I did want to go somewhere warm instead, maybe go to Florida or the Caribbean, those were rare events because there was already so much invested and tied up in the vacation home. The third issue I found is the financials. In order to have your vacation home pay for itself, it pretty much has to be available all the time. And it needs to especially be available to rent during vacation weeks, school vacation weeks, holiday weeks, things like that, because that's the time where they'll make the most money and you can pretty much guarantee that they'll get rented. The problem is, those are exactly the weeks that you also want to use your property. I mean, you bought the vacation home because you wanted to go there, right? Ultimately, the rents never did cover the expenses for the house. However, it did appreciate. In fact, I sold it for nearly double what I paid for it. But when I look back at how much money I put into it during that time, whether it's renovations, maintenance, fixing all of those things but the renters broke, it was not a good investment. In fact, if I looked at putting the money into the S&P 500 during that same time, the S&P 500 more than tripled. So it really wasn't a great financial choice. Now, I did get to use the property a lot, and for that, I had some great times and enjoyed it. Now that I've sold the vacation home, I think about it differently. I think it's fun to have the freedom to go anywhere I want, stay wherever I want. I'll stay in somebody else's Airbnb and not have to worry about my own. No headaches, no maintenance, no lock-in, no worries. Just show up and be on vacation. Now, that can get expensive. So how do I fund it? Well, I took the money that was in my vacation home and I've invested it in passive real estate syndications. A passive real estate syndication is when a sponsor sources a property and makes it available to investors to invest in. The investors are owners of the property, but the sponsors do all the work. The investors just get a return on their invested capital. So now I use the income from my real estate investments to go on vacation wherever and however I choose. If you're interested in learning more about real estate syndications, grab my free ebook, The Insider Secrets to Real Estate Investing to Live Life on Your Own Terms. You can get it at spireinvestmentproperties.com/secret.